Yo, welcome back to Sim Siage. It's your boy Brody. Today we have a comparison between French Avenue Opus Grande and Joe Milano Game of Spades Win. They're supposed to be inspired by Bond number 9. I'm not going to say which one because people been getting, copyrighted and stuff. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into the video and the comparison. Let's get into it. As always, I take notes whenever I do my reviews. That way I can give you guys the best possible information. So if you see me looking off to the side from time to time, it's just because I'm looking at my notes. So for your reference, I did do a side-by-side testing. I had Game of Spades Win on my left arm, and I did 3 sprays, and I did French Avenue Opus Grand on my right arm, 3 sprays. So equal sprays, just opposite arms. So getting into the smell profile with both of these fragrances, they're going to be something that's fresh, they're fruity, but then they get a little bit floral as well. So these can definitely be seen as a unisex fragrance, leaning, I would say, slightly feminine. But if you're a guy, you can definitely pull it off, but you got to have some swag to you. You got to be one of those dudes that's like smooth. You got your stuff together. You got a nice fit on. You got some swag to you. So you got to be that type of dude, with some finesse to be able to pull it off, I would say, in my opinion. So looking at my notes right here, I said in my notes that they both had an alcoholic smell when you first spray it on, but that's only if you go for a sniff right after you spray it. So just give it a couple of seconds. Game of Spades Win actually smelled better in the opening than French Avenue. This was giving me some weird off-putting smell that I had not really got before, but it didn't last long. But yeah, in the immediate opening, Game of Spades Win smells better. Game of Spades Win was also stronger in the opening when I first sprayed it. So, getting into the 2 hour mark, I made a note that Opus Grand is projecting slightly more. So, when I first sprayed, Game of Spades Win was stronger, but once it hit 2 hours, French Avenue Opus Grand was projecting a little bit more than Game of Spades Win. And then at 3 hours, once again, Opus Grand was much stronger than Game of Spades Win at the 3 hour mark. But I also made a note that once the fragrances both dry down, they smell about 98% similar. So after they dry down, man, after like 10, 15 minutes, they both pretty much smell almost the same. If you ask a random person on the street to sniff both sides and you had these on, one on one arm and one on the other, they basically smell pretty much the exact same. So at the 4 hour mark, I have a note that they're both still going strong. They have kind of turned into skin scents, but they're still there. They're not fading, but people would have to be closer to you to smell them. At the 5 hour mark, they're both, pretty much a skin scent. They were still there at the 6 hour mark, but that's kind of where I stopped doing my testing because for this type of fragrance, if you get 6+ hours, I think for a nice light and airy scent profile like this, then that's a W. So they were both there at the 6 hour mark. So you're going to get at least 6 hours of total longevity for the fragrances, 6+ hours. And like I said, for this type of fragrance, that's a W. For the age range of this fragrance, I would say anyone in college or above is cool to wear this fragrance. Like I said, leans slightly feminine, but if you're a smooth dude, you got some finesse and some swag to you, you could definitely pull this off. But college and above for the age range. So for the occasions where you would wear either one of these fragrances, I would say block party, summertime, spring, church, barbecue, office safe for the summertime because it's not too overpowering. Any situation where you want to just smell good but not be the center of attention because they're not beast mode, but they're going to smell good. You just want people to think you smell clean, fresh. It's perfect for that type of situation. So once again, just to recap, performance and projection. Projection is good for the first two-ish hours. Then at 3 to 4 hours, you have a nice scent bubble around you. At 5 hours, it's a skin scent, and it's still going for hours 6+, but you just have to be in very close contact with somebody. If I had to pick one of these fragrances, I would say Game of Spades Win does smell slightly better. You're going to get about the same performance and longevity out of both of them, but I think Game of Spades Win has something about it that just makes it smell a little bit more enjoyable, pleasant. And my wife also agrees that Game of Spades Joe Milano does smell better than French Avenue. She doesn't even think it's close. She thinks Joe Milano smells way better. I think they're pretty close, but I do give the slight edge to Joe Milano Game of Spades Win. Overall, I would give these fragrances about a 7.2 out of 10. Nice summertime fragrance, and they're going to smell good. People are going to enjoy being around you if you're wearing either one of these fragrances.